Good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank you all for taking the time to be a part of this. My name is Hannah Rail. I work in our marketing department at Beck's Hybrids, and I am joined by these lovely individuals here beside me. We are going to be talking about everything commitment rewards, and for some of you, this is probably a new topic as we expand into the state of Kansas. So we want to bring light and kind of show under the curtain what all this program is about. So I'm going to have Brandon kick us off here with some introductions, and then we'll go kind of down the line.
Yep, I'm Brandon Smith. I'm the Central Region Commit Reward Lead. I cover the states of Illinois, Missouri, Kansas, Texas, Oklahoma, Colorado. So pretty large territory, and don't ask me why it's called the Central. I'm not sure that as well. But happy to be here. Been with the company for 14 and a half years, so I'm kind of a veteran when it comes to Beck's Hybrids. So.
Anita Deweese from Pratt, Kansas, and I'm here with my husband Jerry, and we farm.
She left nothing for me to say.
And yes, I'm Stewart Koehn. I'm from Burns, Kansas. Been a Beck's dealer now this is going on my 5th year. So relatively new to Beck's, but enjoying my time here together, working with them and representing them. So.
Again, thank you all for being here. First, with us expanding into the state of Kansas, commitment rewards is a new topic for a lot of farmers, and being introduced to CR is maybe somewhat of a challenge. So, Brandon, I'm going to start with you. Just the background of the program, how it came to be, how it got its start, and then where we're at today.
Yeah, so the story with Commit Rewards is kind of a customer-driven program, really. The buying power aspect came from our director of sales, Tom Hooper, who was shopping for Gators, and he had a good family friend that worked at the John Deere store, and it kind of got into discussions on what the price point would be for 1 unit, or what it looked like if he bought 10 units, 20 units, and then that price kept getting lower as the more units that he was able to get quoted. And so that sparked an idea is, well, what if we share this type of value with our customers and combine it with their seed order? And so that program started, and they thought maybe they'd do 20 to 30 units that year, and I think it ended up almost 600 Gators were purchased that first year for customers. And so, as you've seen in the book, we also now have multi-year agreements where customers can buy 3 years and leverage those 3 years of purchase into their item. Well, that was actually brought to us by a customer because they didn't buy enough to purchase or get that Gator for free with their order. And so they asked, well, what if I guarantee I order the next 3 years this amount of seed, can I get a Gator? And so the first multi-year agreement Tom Hooper did on a notepad as an IOU. And so that customer was able to get a Gator because of that idea. And so that was the first year, and then the second year they started adding some other things like side-by-sides and mowers, and then it's grown in the last 10 years to what you see today, where we're basically working our buying power and negotiating with these major brands and then sharing that value back to the customers. So Beck's Hybrids knows that seed is not the only thing that customers need, and so if we can help with equipment, that's a big aspect that we can help give value back to that customer.
I want to kind of talk about first impressions. So Brandon was going through the history of the program. This is something that no other seed company is doing. Specifically, you three, what was your first impression of this program, and kind of how did you absorb all of that information?
I guess first impression for me is, what are they doing? There's no way a company can do this. It's just a business model that we've never experienced before. Any other companies we worked with didn't offer anything like this that we were aware of. So really kind of really caught us off guard and thought, this is usually when something appears to be too good to be true, well, it doesn't exist. So this has really worked out. Been very pleased with how the program works. Just I don't know, hard to explain. It's just too good to be true almost.
Stewart?
So yeah, as I started in with Beck's as a dealer and was introduced to the different programs and things that they have, I guess it resonated with me. I was really excited about having this opportunity to offer these types of programs to my customers and to have that opportunity to give them a good, heartfelt, sincere thank you for their business. They have done business, a lot of these customers have done business with me a long time in other aspects of the agriculture business. We are in agriculture and other aspects. And they've done business with me a long time, and I never had that opportunity to really give them that thank you. And I was so excited about it, being able to offer this for them and to let them know that we appreciated their business. It meant a lot to me. I enjoy the program.
Stewart, that first year, maybe the first 2 years, you kind of figured out with that early sign that a four-wheeler was $1 because 25 points for the four-wheeler, 25 points for level 2. How many four-wheelers did you do those first 2 years?
I was just racking my brain trying to remember. I think it was close to 15 four-wheelers that you shipped down to me, besides all the other things that we did. But I remember those were the Kodiaks, and we had an entire warehouse taking pictures of those, and big warehouse full of four-wheelers. And it was so neat because customers could make that small commitment and simply just give them a four-wheeler. And in a ranching community like we are, that's a valuable piece of equipment. It's not just a toy. It's not something they're taking to the mountains or to the sand dunes. I mean, this is something they're on every day, and to be able to offer that resource was just wow. It was a neat experience. My customers really seemed to appreciate it.
I want to talk about a real life scenario. So Jerry and Anita, can you kind of give the background of your farm, and then just how CR has improved your operation? I'm assuming it's improved your operation, and just kind of like what that customer experience looks like for the program.
I'm going to kind of start off with like the experience that I had with Beck's to begin with. As an FFA advisor going to national convention, we went by Effingham several times. And the first time I came home, I'm like, there's this amazing facility. I need to stop and tour. And, we just never made it into our schedule. And then something was said about Beck's and the facility. And then I've kind of started putting things together of like, how many times did I travel by the Effingham facility not knowing it was Beck's? And then when I saw that, I was like, okay, I now know that it was Beck's. And then as we started doing a little more research, there was like the Atlanta facility, and like the Effingham facility is nice, but when you visited the Atlanta facility, it was like, wow. And so when I did have the opportunity to go to Atlanta, like it was a feeling that you walk, everybody's friendly, they want you there, the culture that it was. And I immediately was like, yeah, this is somebody that I want to do business with, and we want it as a part of our life. So that was kind of the selling point, maybe for me, is just it was something different than we'd ever seen before. So and then as we kind of started looking at commitment rewards, it was like the Christmas catalog. You carry it around in the pickup and you look at it, and it's like, okay, which reward do we want? So that was kind of a fun thing that we kind of got to do together, is looking at those rewards and like, what do we want in our operation? What's going to help our operation out as far as a commitment reward?
So when this kind of first started, we started looking at Beck seriously and got looking at the commitment rewards. James and Cammie, our dealer, came to the field, and there was all three of us and a laptop in a John Deere combine cab picking corn. And that's where we made our first decision to do a 3-year commitment. So we did that year, made a 3-year commitment. Within the first year, we had already made enough progress that we were 2 years into our commitment dollar-wise. So then Brandon helped us short of a year ago, or about a year ago, started looking at buying our way out of that one. And now we're in our second 3-year commitment through that program. So, but it was a fun time to all of us be in the combine cab trying to make a decision on what to do.
This transitions perfectly into my next question. So, Brandon, we talk about once a customer goes through their first multi-year agreement, Do they want to be done? Can you kind of go through like the trends of the program and the consistency of customers?
Yeah, so with multi-year agreements, a lot of things people are skeptical about is, oh, they're going to raise my prices, or once I'm done, I'm out of here. And our retention rate with multi-year agreements is 93%. So those people are re-signing with Beck's after an agreement. So, and we offer other options, like Jerry's example is he was ahead in his agreement. So we offer a roll forward, which look at a roll forward almost like a refinance. He was able to redo his deal, and we got him into a new pickup. So that program, it turns into, once people get comfortable with our product, comfortable with the company, it almost is like, what are we doing with our commit reward item versus what seed are we picking out first? I mean, they're worried about their commit reward item before they even worry about what hybrids they're selecting. So once they get into it, it becomes exciting. It's a family type decision. It can be items on the farm that they can find valuable. It could be maybe the wife needs a Yukon, like James and Cammie. They don't hear me. But there's a lot of ways that we can find value for the customers, and so they get excited and know that there's opportunity. So we call it the 3 pillars. We have the buying power, we have the working capital, and the interest savings. And those 3 things we share back to the customer to build that package, and that value is now included in the price per bag.
Stewart, we talked earlier about the other myth that you hear all the time. You are welcome to share.
Yeah, there's no question that we hear around the community sometime about Beck's gimmicks. And one thing that I've found interesting is usually the only people who are calling them the Beck's gimmicks is either competitors or those who have not experienced it. Those who have experienced the customer rewards usually find the value in that. And as the statistics show, 93% of them come back to embrace that again. One of the things that I do get questioned sometimes is, well, what if Beck's would eliminate their reward program? Or what if they would eliminate all the trips and all these different things? Could they sell the seed cheaper to us? We would just like to have our seed cheaper. And there's no question that if we would strip down all the programs and we would eliminate everything out there, we could definitely sell the seed cheaper. There's no question that could happen. I like to refer back to a lot of years ago when glyphosate first came out, and it was the wonder herbicide where you sprayed it on anything and everything and it died. Except for humans, it was safe as table salt, supposedly. So it was so wonderful at that point in time. We found out differently. But anyways, that was about $60 a gallon, the way I remember when that first came out. I think some of you that have been around a little longer than I would even remember that, but I remember it's like $50, $60 a gallon. The stuff was fantastic. It worked wonderful. And as time went along, it finally went off a patent and that expired. And so then other people were able to join in that market. And so they came in and made it, and they sold it just a little bit cheaper. And so, of course, those other people that were making it, they had to lower their price to stay in the market. And so they lowered their price down and so they could be competitive. And then the next person made it a little bit cheaper. And it continued to work its way down until we have about $12 glyphosate. Good for the farmer, right? Suddenly, glyphosate no longer has the wonder herbicide like it was. It kills everything it touches. And over these years of selling $12 glyphosate, these years of selling $12 glyphosate, there has been no research dollars that go back into developing new herbicides, that we're suddenly stuck out here with not having glyphosate that works as well as it should, and not having new herbicides that are coming to the market that we would like to have. And so I like to compare that a little bit with Beck's too, in that regard, that sure, could we go out there and sell it cheaper? Well, yes, we could. We could strip all the programs down. But then what's going to happen? I mean, all the other companies are going to have to come down on their price. And so they're going to come down on their price. And Beck's comes down on their price. And finally, we get down to a point in which we're selling corn seed at the absolute bare minimum. And we may think that that's good for the farmer. We may be excited about that and say, well, yes, but our input costs with everything would be down. But 20 years from now, we're still going to be planting 6414. We're still going to be planting the exact same hybrids 20 years from now as well we are currently, because there's no money for research. There's no money to continue to develop and to progress. And so an acceptable way of doing business is that we try to maintain our prices to be at a comfortable level with where the industry is. We're not above, we're not way below, we're just at a comfortable level. And then, on the backside, we're able to come back and give you that money back in a form of a commitment rewards. A lot of people are saying, well, I don't want Beck's to choose what I buy from my farm. And a lot of people don't understand that this is not a confining program, but it is a program in which you can tailor that. You don't have to take what they've chosen out of the catalog. But if you want something else, Beck's will buy that for you. You choose what you want for the farm, whatever it is. If you're needing inputs for the farm, if you're needing some other item for the farm, Beck's will purchase that for you and give it to you just like they do these other commitment rewards. Do they have as much buying power doing it that way? No, they don't. But they are more than glad to fit and tailor this program to anything you want. And so it's a more acceptable way for us to not destroy the industry, to continue to develop for the future of your farm, the future of your children, and yet still give it back to you in an acceptable way.
That was wonderful. I'm going to kind of go off what you said. The Beck's farmer versus the non-Beck's farmer. What does that advantage look like for the Beck's farmer versus someone who's not planting Beck's?
So, as a Beck's farmer, when you go to your banker and you're saying, well, this is something that maybe is a need in your operation or you would like to add, knowing that you have that commitment reward item that's going to be coming to you at a reduced price, but still the exact same item that if you had to go purchase it with cash out of pocket. So that helps in that aspect because you're buying a fuel trailer, you're buying a pickup, you're buying a semi-trailer, or you're getting that through your commitment rewards, and you're not having to put cash out of your pocket for it, so you can actually use that cash for something else. So when you're working with your lender, sometimes that is an advantage of that. So freeing up that operating money. So that's kind of an advantage that we see.
Brandon, are there any other customer testimonials or scenarios where they are able to leverage CR to kind of help better that operation flow?
Yeah, so with our buy-up program, you may have guys that they've penciled out to have some equipment needs, and what the program does is allow them to add a different piece to their operation, and that's not going on their operating note at the bank. And so that is another asset's now going onto their balance sheet. And so it allows guys we call it the working capital multiplier. And so it allows guys to address more needs in 1 year. And so, and it allows guys to leverage 3 years worth of purchasing and get that return in year one. We always talk about the stock market. You got to wait a while to get your money back. Well, here you commit and you're getting your return before you even pay for your first bag. And so that the bankers like that. And so it's already on your balance sheet before you're even writing that first check.
While you're kind of on the mic, can you kind of just go through maybe what you envision or what the department envisions CR in the future for farmers?
Yeah, I don't picture it changing. Our message is helping farmers succeed, and we know that the equipment industry is a major expense on an operation, and I just feel like it's going to expand as far as working to negotiate more and more with those bigger brands and getting that buying power with those, your Case, your Agco, your your Ford, Chevy, I mean, whatever vendor it may be, and just pushing to, get more and more value out of them and share that with our customer. I don't think that is going to change. The program is going to change as far as more and more volume, which should help us with more and more buying power that we can continue to share down to the grower.
Stewart, is there any advice that you like to share with your customers on maybe if they're hesitant on trying the program?
Yes, so I've had numerous customers who have been very hesitant to sign a 3-year agreement or to make some type of agreement. In fact, I've had customers who have purchased seed and would have qualified for but chose not to. And whenever you make a 3-year commitment with Beck's, you are agreeing to a dollar figure. You're not agreeing necessarily to purchasing seed for 3 years. So if you were to make a 3-year agreement and you went into year 1 and you liked what you saw, in year 2 you purchased enough to complete that dollar amount, you're free from that contract at that point, ready to sign a new one or whatever you want. So again, you are agreeing to a dollar amount. Sometimes you can create 3-year agreements, you can create 1-year agreements, you can get those paid off in 1 year, whatever it works on that. Give it a try. Try it out at a very small level, just something to give it a try. Again, 93% of people returning and signing a new 3-year agreement speaks volumes. If it was a program where we are trying to get you to sign up and then we're going to raise the price of our seed and make you pay a lot more, if we're just going to be giving you things that are cheap items that are worthless or whatever, 93% of the people wouldn't be coming back and signing it again. What do they say? The memory of a bad deal lasts a lot longer than the memory of a good price. 93% speaks a lot of volume, and I think that we can take confidence in that and try it at some small level, and let's give it a try.
Let's wrap up kind of similar to what Stewart was saying. Do you guys have a form of call to action to farmers who might be in a similar scenario or situation? Maybe they're involved in the program, but they're not planting all of Beck's. I'll kind of go down the line here and we'll kind of wrap up with that final call to action.
I think if you're not doing it, you need to try it. You owe it to yourself and your farm to give this a serious look, because it brings definite value to your operation and your farm. As far as anything you can buy through commitment rewards, the quality is just as good as anything you can buy from your own dealership. Brandon worked with us in speccing out our pickup. We actually ended up with a nicer pickup than we would have bought ourselves, just because we're working with Brandon. So I think if you're not doing it already, you need to really look at it.
Yeah, I'm going to echo that. Is if you're not doing commitment rewards, you're losing out.
And when I'm talking with customers, I always show them what it looks like with their entire operation, so you can show them what amount of money they're leaving on the table by not going all in with Beck's.
Where can customers find you today?
I will be over at the Commitment Rewards booth at the end of this building. One thing I would like to point out is, as you're walking through, there's going to be a billboard that says "The trend is your friend." In 2021, we wheeled out the early sign program that it gives customers an extra 5 points if they sign and select a multi-year agreement before September 15th. Since we've introduced that program, our amount of multi-year agreements has it's more than doubled, but it's went from about 69% of our business to over 80% of our business is wrapped up in multi-year agreements. So if you walk by into our booth, look at that chart. It's pretty impressive to see the growth of the program in the last few years.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone.